Hello, my dear students. How are you all? My dear students, I have made another assignment which is totally based on your 5-year exam papers, and the pattern is the same. So, by solving this worksheet, you will be able to write the correct answers in your upcoming exams. So, let's begin the worksheet. The very first MCQ is, a non-metal element forms oxides of the type XO2 and XO3. What is element X? First, we have to see the element which is suspected here is in oxidation state of +4 and +6. How we can calculate it? Like if the element X is bonded to two oxygen atoms, one of the oxygen atoms must be contributing -2 oxidation state and 2 must be having -4 oxidation states on it. So this X must be in +4 state. Similarly, in the molecule XO3, this X must be in its +6 state. So we see out of the 4 options, one of the option is a metal, that is aluminium, and metals have only, aluminium is in group 3 and it has only 3 electrons in its valence shell. Carbon can form only 2 oxides, that is carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, because its maximum oxidation state is 4. Hydrogen, again, it is only monovalent. But when we see the position of sulfur in the periodic table, it is in group 6. So it must be forming 2 of the oxides. The next MCQ is, aluminium reacts with chromium oxide as shown. Like the word equation, aluminium plus chromium oxide giving chromium and aluminium oxide. Now we can see what are the relative positions of aluminium and chromium. As you all know that aluminium is higher in reactivity as compared to chromium, because in the reactivity series, aluminium is coming above chromium and iron and many metals. So aluminium can replace the chromium out of its oxide just because of its high reactivity. So we have to see which statements are correct. When we read statement number 1, it says, aluminium is more reactive than chromium. Yes, this is absolutely true. Statement number 2. Similar reaction would also take place between aluminium and iron. Again, aluminium is above than iron in the reactivity series of metals. So 2 is also absolutely right. But when we read statement number 3, which says, iron oxide is reduced by another metal in the blast furnace. In the blast furnace, iron oxide is reduced by using carbon. It's not a metal. So select the correct answer here. Now the MCQ is, using the periodic table for the relative atomic masses, which has the least mass. Now you have to see the periodic table for it. You see what are the relative atomic masses of silicon, oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen. When you calculate the relative atomic mass of silicon dioxide, the mass of silicon is 28, oxygen is 16. So it goes 60. Now 60 is the relative molecular mass, and when you multiply it with 0.1, you get 0.6. Similarly, you calculate the moles of each given option. Then you will be able to calculate the least amount of mass is present in 0.1 mole of silicon dioxide. Now another task is brass is an alloy. Yes, brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Now again the question side is which statement about brass is correct? Option A, it contains a sea of electron. When we talk about metallic bonds, we talk about mobile electrons as a sea of electrons which embeds its nuclei in it. Nuclei of all metallic atoms. But when we talk about some alloy, it's not the complete story. So we read option C first. It is a compound. Again, brass is a mixture, not a compound. And option D is also omitted because I am reading compound here. So it's again omitted. Now you have to select your answer from option A and option B. Now we read option B wisely. It contains positive and negative ions which are free to move. If they talk about the movement of positive ions, that's not possible because alloys are the mixtures of solids in which the particles do not leave their positions. The atoms remain fixed because solids possess definite shape. So the nuclei do not move. They remain fixed in the center. Only these are mobile electrons which move around these positively charged nuclei of metals. So again, be very sure about the selection of correct answer. Which item is made from mild steel? Again, it's a question from alloy. You know, steel is made by adding carbon into iron. It is an alloy. And how much carbon is added? It becomes the type of steel. When we talk about mild steel, it has very low carbon content in it, and it is used in making car bodies and machineries. But when we talk about high carbon steel, it contains 0.45 to 1.5% carbon in it. It is very strong, is used in hammers, saws and other cutting tools. So out of the given options, mild steel is only used in making car bodies. The next MCQ is, the table shows the composition of exhaust gases from an internal combustion engine. Suppose if none of the option is given here, the major content of the exhaust gas is none other than nitrogen. Now we see the options. Here we are lucky to have nitrogen in the options. Which two gases do not damage limestone buildings? There is a problem of pollutant gases. You know, the oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen are acidic in nature. And whenever their concentration becomes higher in atmosphere, they become the reason of acid rain. And the acid rain damages all limestone buildings. And when we see among the 4 or 5 options, option B has nitrogen dioxide, which becomes the reason for destruction, or which becomes the reason of acid rain. In option C, again nitrogen dioxide is there, which is one of the major cause of acid rain, and sulfur dioxide, also acidic gas which produces sulfuric acid, which becomes the reason of acid rain. Only option A has nitrogen and carbon monoxide, and these two gases do not directly damage limestone buildings. Now another very tricky MCQ. Iron trioxides can be reduced to iron by carbon. Which other elements can reduce iron oxide to iron? Now again, I remind you that whenever we talk about reactivity of metals, the answer is in reactivity series. Now you have to see what are the positions of these metals in the reactivity series. When you see the reactivity series, the position of copper, lead and silver, they are down iron. Only magnesium is the metal which is above iron. So only the top coming or upper lying metals can replace the low lying metals. So the answer is in the reactivity series. The next MCQ is, an ammonium salt was added to excess hot aqueous sodium hydroxide. Ammonia gas was evolved. Okay. When no more ammonia was evolved, aluminum was added to the solution remaining and more ammonia gas was given out. What was the ammonium salt? Now the answer is again very clear and vivid that it is the salt ammonium nitrate, because these nitrate ions will be reduced by aluminum in the presence of hydroxide ion to give ammonia gas. So the right answer is ammonium nitrate. Now we come to discuss the theory section. Ammonium nitrate decomposes when heated in a similar way to ammonium nitrite. So suggests the formula of the two products made in this reaction. So when we write the reaction, when we heat ammonium nitrate, the two main products are nitrous oxide and 2 moles of water. The next part is describe how a pure sample of aqueous ammonium nitrate can be prepared from dilute nitric acid. Again, the worldwide method for the production of ammonium nitrate. It is usually prepared by neutralizing nitric acid with ammonium hydroxide or ammonium carbonate, and by adding water into concentrated nitric acid, we can simply prepare ammonium nitrate. Now we see, what do you know about acids and their strength? The strength of acids is just the capacity of their dissociation, or how much they dissociate. Strong acids are those chemicals or are those acids which dissociate completely into their ions. So they prefer to be in their ionic state. For example, hydrochloric acid. For example, sulfuric acid or nitric acid is also one of the very important strong acid. But when we see about the weak acids, the weak acids are those acids which prefer to remain in their molecular form, and they ionize, but they ionize to a very low extent, such as acetic acid. Acetic acid dissociate but to a very lower extent. And carbonic acid, another very important example to explain weak acid. Now you just practice these questions and write their answers on some paper and check your understanding. If you are learning with the help of these videos without any hesitation, without any problem, then that's very good. And if you have any query, you can pass your comments and I will be very willing to reply them. Okay class, thank you, God bless you and take care.